Hi, this is Dave with Scrapping with Dave. In the last video I made, I showed you how to do a quick layout like this using some images to make a multi-imaged layout that could be printed and put for either for a photograph or maybe into a photo book. What I'd like to do is expand on that a little bit this time, and what I'm going to do is start a new project, and I'm going to give it a color background, and this time I'm going to use a square page. That's used a lot by people who are doing scrapbooks. It's one of the standard sizes that both Snapfish and Shutterfly have. So when I'm started off, I'm going to give it a square background, but I'm also going to give the texture, give it background a little bit of character, maybe a little color and a texture, something like this. Okay, so I texturized the background very lightly, as you can maybe see here. It's not, I didn't want it to be a heavy texture, I just want it to be an accent texture. So now let's add a few pictures here. Here in my examples, I have these four, and I'll just select all of them and bring them in. This is a different wedding than the other one, and so you see now that we have these four pictures in, okay, so I can move them around here, as you know, and put them wherever I want just by selecting and grabbing and dragging them. So I want one picture, usually in a layout like this, it's good to have one picture be kind of the center of the center of focus. And I think I'm going to make it this one. I'm going to blow this guy up a little bit and just give it a little bit of a rotation and move it down, something like this. Now, here's the invitation that they had for their wedding. I don't want that to be on top, so over here in the layers panel, I'm going to move it to the bottom, and I'll go ahead and rotate it, set it up here, something like this, and let's blow it up pretty good size so we can say, okay, it's hanging back there, but people can see that it is, and maybe even rotate it a little more, something like this. All this is very much up to you how you'd like to do it yourself. So on this one here, I'm going to blow it up. And now you see there's a lot of extraneous around here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and crop this thing. Now up here I can grab my crop tool, and I'm going to tell it I want it to do a random aspect crop. That means I can adjust it to however I want it to be. So I think what I'm going to do is just pick out the couple here. I don't think I want all the other stuff that's going to be hanging around with that. So let's crop it about something like this. All right, so now we got another picture here. We're going to set it down here for the time being. Now we get this picture here of the bride, and I think I'm going to do something a little bit different here that you probably haven't seen me do before, and that is to do a cutout. It's different than a crop in as much as I can mask out parts that I want and get a different well, here, I'll just show you. First off, we'll go in here. And I'm going to pick this thing as being a rectangular crop. Okay, so I can move this over here and say I'm going to catch her about there and about there. Something like that. Maybe even down here a little bit more. But before I do the crop, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to set a radius of, and I'm going to also set a softness. Now let's set those properties. And you'll see that now this is going to give me a sort of a faded out cropping or masking of this image. And if I apply this, you now see that she's kind of fades out into the background a little bit. So let's take that and we'll rotate her around here about like so. And maybe that's a little bit too much, so maybe something like this. And blow it up a bit and set her about like that. Now, I also want to give some definition to these pictures in order to distinguish them from one another. So let's give it a, give it a border, something about like this, and we'll make the border white. And we'll apply the same border here to this, so we'll match that. And we probably should also give this a little bit of a shadow. Let's go in here and say we'll go up to about I don't know, 3 or 4 in the shadow, and give it a fair amount of definition so you can see it. And let's make it a little sharper. Let's take it down to a 3, and maybe move this up to something like 125 or something. Yeah, we'll go with that, and then match this. Okay. Now I can take this photo and just rotate it a little bit, and we'll blow it up a bit so that it has its own space. And maybe we move this to something like this and even make it a little bit larger. Like I say, you generally want to have, and we'll take her down just a touch, and something about like that. Okay, so in just a couple of minutes there, you can see we took these 4 pictures that I had, or images, one of being the invitation, and then 3 pictures of the bride and groom and bride by herself, and just composed them in almost no time into a pretty nice collage layout that would be able to be used for either your own purposes for digital distribution or for printing into a wedding album, or just printing to a photo. So in any case, that's the quick little layout that I did using those 4 photos, and I hope it was instructive. And I'll do more of this stuff in the future in other videos. In the meantime, this is Dave with Scrapping with Dave.